On election night, Republicans in Florida were big winners. Governor Ron DeSantis had a sweeping victory by carrying Palm Beach and Miami-Dade counties, longtime Democratic strongholds. And Senator Marco Rubio, who faced a tough election battle, was also re-elected for a third term in Congress. And joining me now is Miami-Dade's GOP chairman, Rene Garcia, to talk about election night, a big night for Republicans here in the state of Florida. Thank you so much for joining us.
Jackie, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, first of all, congratulations. This was a big win for the governor, for the senator, for congressmen and women, and also for you, because many of the eyes of the country were looking at Miami-Dade County as kind of an example of what could happen if it were to turn red, and it did.
Yeah, Jackie, look, and thank you for that. I think, number one, we had great candidates that were running. We had the right message. The state of Florida was really an example of what it is to keep a state free and open, where we had hundreds of people and thousands of people moving in to the state of Florida. And one of our messages were that make sure that you don't bring your policies and your politics from those blue states into this red state that we have now right in Florida. That was one. And number two, we worked it, Jackie. We worked it really hard. You know, when you look at the national press now, they talk about the fact that it was just the Cuban Americans that held Dade County red, but it wasn't just the Cuban Americans. Yes, the Cuban Americans, and I'm Cuban American, are traditionally Republicans and vote red, but we went out and reached out to the different Hispanic groups that we have in this community. Miami is a big melting pot. Miami-Dade County is a melting pot of different individuals. We reached out to the Hondurans, Nicaraguans. We made a lot of inroads with them, with the Venezuelans, the Colombians, Dominicans, even Puerto Ricans. We sat down and had conversations with everyone, the executive board and our REC members, making sure that we worked it day in and day out for the last couple of years that we've been working it.
Yeah, the Cuban Americans are a big voting bloc, but they have been around for many years,
right. And
this county has been blue for 20 years, so there had to be more work involved in really attracting a diverse group of people to vote in that direction.
No, absolutely. Look, they criticized, since I became chairman, they've been taking shots at the Republican Party here in Miami-Dade County, saying that we were a group of fascists and bigots and so forth, yet we're the most diverse Republican Party in the state, and I would venture to say in the nation. We have folks from different Hispanic backgrounds, different colors, different parts of the Caribbean and across even the world, right? And we had to capitalize on that diversity that we have within our own party and get that message out. Look, at the end of the day, this is where we as Republicans stand on freedom. You know, your rights, you have the rights to live your life as you see fit, as long as they don't interfere with my rights. Your rights end when they collide against mine. You can do whatever you want, but don't throw your life on mine. Don't throw your way of life on mine. You can do however you want to live your life, you can live it. And that's what we have to get to in this country, where, you know, this woke mentality and ideology needs to end. You know, the First Amendment is only good when you agree with someone 100% of the time. The moment you disagree with them, you're cut out and you're eliminated. That's not who we are as a people, and that's definitely not who we are as a Republican Party. And I, as chairman of the party, that's one of the messages that I've been trying to get out there on a day in, day out basis, to make sure that we start bringing ourselves together, not only as a party, but as a country. We need to start meeting somewhere in the middle. You
talked about the work that you had put into it, and so many people in Miami-Dade County. The numbers don't lie. Before the election, we had reported that 5.3 million registered Republicans in the state of Florida versus just under 5 million for Democrats, and that had been inverted from the last election. So how much of that was Miami-Dade based?
Look, the DeSantis campaign and the RPOF did a great job across the state working and registering people to vote. Here in Dade County, we work together with the RPOF and our different clubs that we have established, and clubs that have been established here for many years. We work together with them, ensuring that we've got people registered to vote. But it's not only about registering people to vote. It's not just on the vote count, on the number of registered Republican versus Democrat. It's getting how are they going to perform. And we see that a lot of the NPAs and non-party affiliated, those that are not registered with one party or another, they broke mainly more to the Republican side, because otherwise we couldn't win an election just with Republican votes. Right. And we see that the Democrats, we see a handful of Democrats also broke with us. And it really all, if you look at it as well, Jackie, it's a combination of different things. And one of them is the economy. A lot of people in this community are hurting. You know, inflation is going up, gas prices are creeping up, the cost of living is continuously going up, and a lot of these policies that have been implemented in Washington, D.C., while they're pretending to help the middle class, but it also hurts the middle class, because when you throw all this money out into the market, that's why the cost of inflation, you're seeing inflation rise, and the same people you're trying to help, you're hurting them on the back end when their cost of living is going up, when eggs are more expensive, milk is more expensive, and just their way of life becomes more expensive. So there has to be a balance.
Voter turnout was a big part of the win for the state of Florida for the Republican Party. What do you attribute that to? What was it, the governor's messaging that motivated people? Was it the senators? Was it a combination of factors?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of factors. I think, again, the economy was one. And number two, we have a very popular governor who's done a great job in the state of Florida. And here in Dade County, you had two big names on the ballot, which was Jeanette Nunez, a lieutenant governor, and you had Marco Rubio, who is a son of this community. So I think here in Miami-Dade County, a lot of the stars aligned to get people motivated to vote. And Republicans were definitely a lot more motivated to vote, Jackie, because, again, it's the economy. We go back to every question is about the economy, right? So a lot of individuals went out to vote because of that, and I think our base was very electrified, and we were unified. We look at the Republican Party for many times. They tried to divide the party. Throughout the last 2 years of my tenure as chairman, they've done nothing but to try to divide the party. But with the more insistence on trying to divide us, the more that we came together to make sure that we spoke with one message and one voice.
A lot of the attention has been put on the governor and on the senator, but a lot of the congressional races here in South Florida, of course, also went red, and we're talking about Carlos Jimenez and Mario Diaz-Balart and Maria Elvira Salazar, just to name a few. I want to talk about District 27 specifically because it was two Latinas. There was the incumbent Maria Elvira Salazar and Annette Tadeo. They used the term socialist, and both sides used that term, which we are hypersensitive here in South Florida in this community. Do you think that still resonates with voters?
Look, what you see happening here is that a lot of the ideology that exists, and a lot of people feel this, and the Republican parties do feel this, that the Democratic Party is now swung so far to the left in Washington, D.C., where this notion, and you have self-proclaimed socialists like Bernie Sanders, and you have Cortez, the representative, that some of the messaging and some of the rhetoric that comes out scares a lot of Democrats, inclusive. So I think the issue of socialism is something that we have to be very wary of. The idea and the notion that, again, the First Amendment rights being on the line as well. The idea where we're trying to get a society where it's becoming accustomed to living off the government or becoming used to government programming. I think those are ideas and notions where us here in South Florida know that that's the beginning of how socialism starts. So that's why I think some folks in this campaign season will try to use those issues to try to either promote their side or to try to confuse on the campaign side.
Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you, Jackie.